Acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe at the Senate Intelligence Committee hearings, flat out saying and assuring to the committee that the Russia probe continues. Now, of course, he was also pinned down on the president's firing of his predecessor, James Comey. McCabe's claim Comey enjoyed, quote, broad support at the FBI seemed to conflict with the White House assertion the rank and file had lost faith in the former director. However, McCabe, when pushed, did concede that many in the Bureau questioned some of Comey's decisions.
There were folks within our agency who were frustrated with the outcome of the Hillary Clinton case, and some of those folks were very vocal about those concerns.
Democrats on the Hill, meantime, are continuing to clamor for a special prosecutor to take the reins in the investigation of Russia ties to the Trump campaign. We're joined now by one congressman in that call, making that call, Representative Joe Crowley of New York. You also sit on the, you're the chair of the Democratic Caucus Committee and House Ways and Means Committee. You are a member. Thank you for being here.
Great to be here with you. Thanks.
Let me tackle this part first. Andrew McCabe, when asked, said the Russia probe continues and that the Trump administration has not tried to impede in that. Do you believe him?
Well, I think that remains to be seen whether or not they have or not. I think that's why we're calling for an independent commission and a special prosecutor to be appointed to really clear the air on all these issues. I think right now what we do know is that I think a number of folks, maybe even inadvertently, have compromised themselves. Not suggesting that Mr. McCabe has done at this point, but certainly I think Jeff Sessions has done that, has already recused himself, and yet we know was also involved in discussions about the firing of FBI Director Comey.
But what does that do to the Democrats' narrative when he says, we're still forging ahead with this investigation and we are impervious to any outside efforts to derail it? What does that do to the Democrats' big plan to say, oh, the FBI is going to be partisan?
Well, I think what's important to do is to clearly state and delineate the responsibilities. We want the FBI to continue to investigate. They do not prosecute. See, it's important to understand that the FBI itself does not. That is up to the Justice Department. So we want the FBI, and we're glad to hear that they said that they will continue this investigation. But we do believe that once the investigation continues and that the Justice Department itself, we believe that at least the top appointee, the Attorney General, has been to some degree somewhat compromised. And he's already removed himself theoretically, but we also know that he's already admitted that, or they've admitted that he was a part of the negotiation to fire.
And I would also say that Chairman Burr, a Republican of the Senate Intelligence Committee, has been very clear that he wants this to continue, and Mark Warner, of course, the Democrat on that committee, is ranking, and he pushed it. But within the hour, Justin Amash, who is a member of Congress, Republican, is joining calls about a special investigation. So it's not as if it's just the Democrats here. However, do you, the Democrats, risk real blowback from voters who are way more interested in sort of kitchen economics? They want to see certain plans and certain policies go through, from tax cuts to perhaps a big infrastructure bill.
Right. I do appreciate that some Republicans are beginning to step up and really, I think, join the chorus of Democrats who have been calling for an independent commission or special prosecutor. We need more to do that as well. So if Jason Amash has done that, all the more to him. I do recognize what Senator Burr has been doing and the bipartisan nature of what's happened in the Senate. We're seeing more of that in the House as well. And I do think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. This is too critical an issue to our country. An attack, we know, every head of every intelligence agency just yesterday said that Russia was involved in trying to undermine our elections, and in France and around the world. And that goes to the core of who we are as a democracy.
If the Democrats really feel that they can do things concurrently, why don't you jump the president's gun and put together an infrastructure plan and float it out there? I just spoke to a big architecture group, an engineering group. They are waiting on the infrastructure plan. It's bipartisan. Everybody wants this.
We had it suggested early on. If we couldn't, if the hints weren't loud enough after the election, we were still licking our wounds. But we all said, when asked, what could you work on together? Everyone, Chuck Schumer, myself, Pelosi, everyone said, let's work on infrastructure.
Where is it?
Well, we have to remember something. But Democrats are not in control of either house. And what we started working on was health care. And when that failed, they brought it back again. Now we're not being included in any of the discussions on tax reform. We said these are very difficult issues. Let's get to infrastructure. And they have done everything but infrastructure.
All right. And finally, because you mentioned health care, Aetna just pulled out of all of the Obamacare exchanges. Clearly, they hate it. A lot of others do not like it. There are some things about it that many Americans, even conservatives, do like. But what do you think about the fact that Aetna's pulled out entirely?
What we have said is that we need to improve the act itself. Aetna and other insurance companies are pulling out because of the uncertainty that's created. They don't know as to whether...
They were pulling out before.
They don't. It's because they don't know as to whether or not they'll be helped by the federal government maintain themselves in those states that they're struggling in. That's part of the Affordable Care Act. There's a federal lawsuit right now that's in the federal courts brought by Republicans to stop the payments in those risk corridors. If we can get to that point, end that discussion, we'll see a lot healthier market, and that, I think, help to bring down the cost. Right now, it's the uncertainty which raises costs. Insurance companies don't like uncertainty.
Congressman Crowley, nobody in business likes uncertainty.
No, I agree.
We know that here at the Business Network.
And that's why tax reform has to be done in a bipartisan way.
Representative Joe Crowley of New York.
Thank you.